My name is John Shuck, and I'm a Presbyterian pastor from Portland, Oregon. In October 2018, I visited one of the holiest cities on planet Earth, Karbala, Iraq. Of about 1.8 billion Muslims in the world, 400 million are Shia. About 700,000 Shia live in the United States. There are about a half dozen mosques or masjids in the Portland metro. Only one of them is a Shia masjid. It's the only Shia masjid in Oregon. It's across the street from the congregation I serve on Denny and Hall in Beaverton. It is called the Islamic Center of Portland, the Imam Mahdi Center. I went to Iraq and learned more about my neighbors across the street. My way, and the way of my cameraman, Josh Townsley, was paid by the Hussain Islamic Society of Seattle. We went for Arba'in, the largest annual peaceful gathering of humans in the world. Josh and I went with a tour group, Caravan 72, led by Mohammed Beg out of Los Angeles. We went along with about 50 other Shia pilgrims from the United States to visit shrines in Iraq, including the shrine of Imam Hussain alayhi salam, the grandson of the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, and the shrine of Imam Hussein's half-brother Abbas in the holy city of Karbala. I was asked to go because I'm a Christian pastor and because I have interest in interfaith work and, in particular, justice issues. Large justice issues, war and peace issues, such as the so-called war on terror, or perhaps more accurately, the war of terror that is being inflicted by the United States, Israel, and the Saudis in the Middle East. Also for me, this was a spiritual journey. I was moved by the story of Hussain and by those who follow him. I wanted to be inspired by his courage. You can read all about my quest for truth and my radical ideas, and I have them on my blog, radio show, and social media, but that isn't what this is about. This is about a movement. Arba'in is the largest annual peaceful human gathering in the world. Most people in America don't even know about it. I didn't until I was invited to attend earlier in 2018. This tour group is like any spiritual tour group to a holy place. In this case, Shia Muslims from all over the United States visit holy sites in Iraq, and some went on a continuation of the tour to Iran. We stayed in a hotel in Karbala for most of the time, and then in another hotel in Najaf. Josh and I spent our time with the tour group, participating in their programs, going to the sites, including Karbala, Najaf, Baghdad, and Samarra. And of course, going on the walk, a 50-mile walk over 2.5 days from Najaf to Karbala. We spent 2 nights on the road, one night at the Iranian Media Center and another at the Bab Hussein Moqib. Visiting Iraq is not dangerous, even as the State Department says that Americans are not supposed to go to Iraq. I never felt safer. Josh and I walked around Karbala by ourselves. We did the 50-mile walk by ourselves. We were embraced. Many people took selfies with us. We were even the object of media attention when it was discovered that a Christian pastor from America was making a film about his trip to Arba'in. So, who is Hussain? And what is Arba'in? What I heard most often was that Hussain saved Islam. All Muslims know this. Both Sunni and Shia honor Hussain. Shortly after the death of the Prophet, a corrupt politician, Yazid, claimed control of Islam and demanded that the grandson of the Prophet, Hussain, bow to Yazid's authority. Hussain refused as a matter of conscience. On the plains of Karbala, Iraq, Yazid and his army of 30,000 surrounded Hussain and his family and his 72 companions, demanding Hussein's allegiance in exchange for his life. Hussain refused. A slaughter resulted. It was a battle of truth versus falsehood, good versus evil, right versus might. The incredible cruelty of Yazid and the transcendent bravery of Hussain is recounted every year with deep mourning and conviction. The women and children were taken prisoner and forced to walk to what is now modern-day Damascus, Syria. There, Hussein's sister, Zainab, bravely recounted the cruelty of Yazid and the bravery of Hussein and kept the truth alive. There's a saying that the movement ended with Imam Hussein, but continued with Zainab. Yazid ordered the family to leave Damascus. On their way home to Medina, Zainab asked to return to Karbala to visit the site of the battle. They arrived on the 40th day after Ashura, the day of the battle. Arba'in means 40th. It's only been in the last few years, since the fall of Saddam Hussein, that millions of people have come to visit their Imam.
Our gathering that you see of millions actually started after the demise of Saddam. Why? Because the Shias have been oppressed throughout centuries. They have been oppressed. And in the time of Saddam, if anyone was found walking towards the Imam, they would be killed. And many scholars were killed through that. So the Shias, they saw that opportunity now we are free. And now we are able to go to our Imam freely. So because of this, people, they take on that burden and that hardship of walking towards the Imam because of that love, to show that now we are free and now we can express that love towards Imam al-Hussein.
During the time of Saddam, the walk was illegal.
Actually, there was kind of local uprising in Najaf back in 1977 when the Ba'ath government decided not to allow anyone to leave Najaf. But a group of youth people, they challenged that and they ran toward Karbala. And Saddam Hussein brought big brigades and many parts of the Iraqi army to block the road, and they arrested thousands of people. Actually, myself, I was arrested in that event. And we spent many days in prison, and they killed some people and tried to scare the people of it, because they consider that a real challenge to their authority. And this is when they started not to allow any people to walk. But that did not stop people to go walking, but it wasn't as such public event. People would sneak in the night and go walk, or people will go not walking through the main roads, that's what you witness, which is the main road between Karbala and Najaf. They would go through the back doors, within the rural area, so the government will not detect them.
But now people come from over 60 countries, some walking hundreds of miles.
This walk that's happening right now is a new phenomenon. And it didn't start by any planning. No one planned it. It's just that after years of subjugation under Saddam, people were not even allowed to mourn and cry. No one was allowed to come here to even show their love. So after years of subjugation, when freedom was found, it just happened that people, when Arba'in came around, they just felt that, you know what, I'm just going to go. They left their homes and started walking. They didn't want to take a bus or anything, they just started walking. How would someone understand it? Like, for example, in a very crass example, I'll give you like Forrest Gump starts running, There's no reason, just felt like it. And you just feel like that, I want to do this, that's it. The passion came in and you just walked. And you just came and you made yourself available, and then just grew from there. It grew. So it's something that is new and it's just naturally there. We don't know, and there is no one who made the plan that, okay, you know what, this is written in religion that we have to do this. It wasn't like that. It just came about, and how it came about, the wisdom, what's the divine intervention in that, I don't know. No one knows yet. We are still trying to figure it out, but all we know is that we are enthralled in the passion of the moment. That's it.
The walk to Arba'in is a time of mourning. The entire walk is a constant prayer. Poetry that recounts the sacrifice of Hussain for Islam and for all humanity is recited in Arabic, Urdu, Farsi, and many other languages. Often, this mourning includes a rhythmic beating of the chest called matam.
So right from the start, right, there's truth and there's falsehood. With Imam Hussain is the same thing. You see, he stood for truth, there was truth in him, and then there's falsehood that was out there. So as this truth and falsehood, they come and meet, falsehood on that day of Ashura, the army there on Ashura, when they killed Imam Hussain and they captured his family, they started beating drums of victory. And they proclaimed to the world that they won and Hussein has lost. And that was more hurtful for the family of Hussein than even his death. The fact that they proclaimed victory, they beat the drums of victory. But divine decree would have it such that after that day, until the day of judgment, that the drums of victory are going to beat. And these are the drums of victory of Hussein. We are claiming to the world that truth has won. And we are making noise too, so the whole world can listen to that noise and that beat and know that this is truth that will always win.
All along the road, between Najaf and Karbala, are mokibs. They provide rest, relaxation, food, and my favorite, Iraqi chai, strong and sweet. The people of Iraq are the hosts. They save up for the year to provide comfort and hospitality to those who are visiting Imam Hussain. On the first night, we stayed at the Iranian Media Center. 2 people gave up their cots for us. We spoke with an Iranian filmmaker. He told us the story of Ali Asghar, the 6-month child of Imam Hussain.
The 6 months boy was the son of Imam Hussain with the name of Ali Asghar. That in the battle of Ashura, or the day of Ashura, Imam Hussain told the enemies and put the Ali Asghar on his son like this, and told the enemies, he is 6 months, he is thirsty. If you have war with us, he is children. But what happened? Someone put the Ali Asghar neck and kill him. Very simple. In these days, you can see the same killing of like this story where? In Israel, in Yemen, in Syria, some years ago in Iraq, here, like near in this road. We can find something with these stories.
Justice. That is the main takeaway from all of this. The courage to stand with the oppressed against the powerful, to take a stand for truth, to take a stand for justice, to take a stand that requires sacrifice. That is the essence of Imam Hussain alayhi salam and true Islam and true humanity. On the walk between Najaf and Karbala are pillars every 50 meters. On each pillar is a poster of a martyr, a young man who lost his life fighting ISIS.
Along the poles from pole number 1 all the way to pole 1400, you will see pictures of martyrs we call shuhada. These are actually people who, regular people, not army trained, who actually rose up when they heard the verdict to go and defend. All of those pictures are innocent young kids who have left behind wives, have left behind kids, and they rose up so that they can go and defend the shrines of the Imam. They can defend their country, and so that's their day. They give their life so that we are able today to be able to come visit the Imam, be able to go to Karbala, be able to go to Samara. Sheikh Hani, he's like one of the bravest guys I have met. I met Sheikh Hani from 2013. He actually was one of my Arabic grammar teachers. Very brave. He always had a problem with Wahhabis because he's from an area in Baghdad where a lot of his family members have been killed through explosions. So he always had this I would say bravery of always going and fighting off these enemies. So when he had the opportunity to go and fight, he didn't look back. He told us in class that, you know what, I'm leaving tomorrow and I will not come back. And I remember seeing him a week, 3 days before he died. I saw him and subhanallah, I saw him and we hugged and he said, I'm going back, and he never came back.
This 50-mile walk from Najaf to Karbala is not easy. It is wall-to-wall people in the desert heat. But walking does offer time for reflection. It was important to me to do the walk, even more so than to make a movie. This was a spiritual visit for me. I'm glad I made the choice to do the walk rather than focus on making a movie about the walk. It gave me the opportunity for self-reflection. What is my life about? Where do I stand? For whom do I speak? I met a man from India, and we walked together for about 90 minutes. I don't remember his name, but we talked about everything, from religion to politics to life. It was a breath of fresh air to be able to have conversations about things that matter with someone from the other side of the world. It was one of many gifts I received on this road to Karbala.
As we have been making this walk, continuously we have been thinking that, or looking around, that everyone is walking in one direction, which is towards Karbala, which is towards Imam Hussain. And I think it's very symbolic and metaphorical that even in our lives, the duration that we are in this world, we all need to be walking in one direction, which is, in our belief, which is Najat, which is to be free of this world and be with Imam Hussain and all the Ahl Bayt and all the prophets, and be with God. And the way to do that is to have that singular focus in one direction towards the truth, towards the, even in the Quran, which says that you be on the right path, be on the righteous path. And this feels like that's what we are on. We are on this righteous path. Everyone is moving in that same direction. Everyone has this dedication. Everyone has this intense love for Imam Hussain, which is drawing them all. We saw young and old and people who can't walk, they don't have shoes. Doesn't matter. They're all going there. There's some kind of love which is drawing them in.
On the second night, we stayed at the Bab Hussain Mokib. Again, 2 people gave up their mats for us. This is a huge mokib with sleeping accommodations for 4,500 people. Karbala, Iraq, is not a wealthy city. The electricity goes off and on. The water is bottled. Yet, the city receives 15 million people during a 2-week period. It's as if the streets themselves expand.
You know, when the companions of Jesus came to him and they wanted to see a sign, and they said, show us a sign. And the sign was the table spread, the Last Supper we call it. And from a piece of bread, he was able to feed how many people. We see it here, the same thing. The same thing here. You will see that these people throughout the year don't got nothing. And even myself, I ask myself this question: how, when it comes to Arba'in, how can these people host 40 million, 30 million people? Like you said, the sewage is bad, the roads are bad, I mean, the infrastructure is bad, but you will see that in this walk, this 2 weeks or week of people coming here, you will see that everything is free. They give their houses, they give every little thing that they give it. How? It's a miracle from God. This is something that is unexplainable, just like the table spread, and I mean, I this is something that buzzes my head every time, just thinking how many animals they killed, how many food they give, how many water they give, and then you will see after Arba'in they go back to suffering. But when it comes to Arba'in, it's like you will think that everybody in Iraq is rich.
You don't make the visitation, the ziyarat, without an invitation. It is important that the imam invites you and that the imam grants permission. So all of the visitors, all 15 million plus, are believed to have been invited. No visitor is unwelcome. No visitor is anything less than a blessed beloved of Allah. Of course you feed them. Of course you shelter them. Of course you care for their needs. You love them because they are on a divine mission, a sacred journey in which they will be blessed, be a blessing to the world, and you will have a part in that. Not because there's anything extra special about you, but because, inshallah, you do it for the love of Hussain alayhi salam. The people of Iraq know this. Whether you are making the ziyarat or serving those who do, it is a divine interplay, an unchoreographed dance of love. But lest we get caught up in the romance of it, let us remember, who is this imam who invites visitors from all over the entire world? Imam Hussain alayhi salam refused to submit to the authority of Yazid, who he believed to be unjust. Hussain refused to allow Islam to be directed by tyrants with small minds and large greed. His brutal slaughter and the slaughter of his 72 companions on the plains of Karbala 1400 years ago was a tragedy of cosmic significance. But it was something else. It is a victory. It is a tragedy that repeats itself all over the world, and it is a victory in the hearts of those who will not allow that tragedy to be the final word on the matter. The invitation to visit Hussain alayhi salam is the invitation from his own lips. As the battle ended and Hussain faced his own end, he called out to the world, to future generations, "Is there anyone who will help me?" The response is from any in the world, regardless of religion or culture or language. Labbaik, Ya Hussain. Here I am, Hussain.
Hussain is the name of justice. Hussain is the name of sacrifice. Hussain is the name of braveness. Hussain is our symbol. Hussain is our passion. Hussain is our love.
Labbaik, Ya Hussain. Here I am, Hussain, can mean so many things in a world that is soaked in the blood of injustice. It can mean that I will bear witness to what I think is true, what I think is just, what I think is good, even if it means I will have to give up my own life. I will fight the Yazids of the world on behalf of the poor, even if the odds are 30,000 to 72. Inshallah.
There's a phrase that we hear from the story as we grow up, and it's every day is Ashura and every land is Karbala. And I think that is one of the most powerful reminders for how timeless this story actually is. It's reminding us that every day is Ashura, so Ashura being the day that Imam Hussain was killed, every single day there are people losing their lives or facing oppression in one way or another. And every land is Karbala. It's happening everywhere in the world, even here in Portland, in the United States, in the developed countries. There's oppression happening everywhere and in every single generation.
I don't want to leave with a false impression. I was embraced, but that should not be mistaken for, it's all good. It's not all good. The United States has rained destruction and death on Iraq. Millions in Iraq, Afghanistan, Yemen, Syria, Libya, Palestine have died and are still dying because of the United States and its misguided foreign policy and its support of Saudi Arabia and Israel. War drums continue to beat against Iran for no good reason. I came as an ambassador. I hope others will come. I hope American media will come. I hope other Christian pastors will come and see what is happening, talk with real people, and be advocates of true peace, peace that comes from justice. The most emotional moment for me was when I was able to swim through the bodies to touch the lattice work that is above the grave of Imam Hussain alayhi salam. I couldn't quite reach it. A hand took mine and pushed it against the lattice work. I looked at the person who helped me. Our eyes met, and I felt a surge of emotion. It was as if Imam Hussain alayhi salam was calling me to give myself for truth. I'm a Christian pastor, but because of my encounter with Imam Hussain alayhi salam, I have received a renewed faith in the work of Jesus and Hussain, peace be upon them both, for justice and truth. Jesus and Hussain are brothers. They are one. If the human race is going to survive, we all must be one.